going to be talking about anger management. Do you have anger management? Like, do you have anger issues? Have you attempted managing it? Did you even think that you could actually manage your anger? Did you know, or somebody had to diagnose you, or your anger actually like landed you into a lifetime problem that you're still dealing with the repercussions of it? Now this morning, I'm joined by my own brother this morning, Delasi Dube. He's a corporate trainer, coach, and you're a ghostwriter.
Yes, I'm a ghostwriter, something I do on the side.
Uh-huh.
But most often ghostwriters,
because the book
we
I
hide.
write, your name is there. The book you write that I read, your name is always there. Send me some of the ghost things you've written. Let me see if I know you are the one.
Okay, but normally we sign contracts with the clients, not to disclose who we are. But there are some clients who say, okay, you know, you've done well for me, and I want to put you out there. Sometimes there's a contract where royalties and
They say you should look into your brother's life too, because you never know. They have to things that you don't know. But it's good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Happy to be here again.
Yeah.
You guys are looking awesome.
Thank you
very much.
Always
You're
a good
very
vibe.
fine yourself.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
I appreciate it.
Nice.
This morning, I asked Gordon a simple question. Does he think that he's got anger issues? And he says no. Maybe he doesn't know what somebody thinks, maybe unless they've told him. So my question will be that if you have anger issues, would you know, or you have to be told?
Mostly what happens with anger issues is that sometimes you know, depending on how you reflect, self-awareness, you know, but a lot of times we don't know about it. Somebody has to tell us about it. But the thing about anger is that it's a natural thing. Growing up, we're taught to think that anger, fear are bad things, but they are not bad things. They are natural emotional indicators or systems in human beings. So anger is supposed to let you know that, okay, check light, be careful, there's a threat. So once we see anger not to be a bad thing, but a check light, we get to understand what anger is. It's just a check light to know that there's a threat somewhere you need to work on.
Okay.
So most often, everybody has anger issues.
Right.
But it always depends on how you manage it, how you react to it.
And you have absolute control over how you react to it? Or there are external factors that really, no matter what, you can affect you?
It depends on the individual, it depends on the situation, it depends on the environment. There are certain things that can trigger people. For example, I can say something to you that will not really bother you. But I might say something else that will trigger. I know you are very passionate about your mother, may she rest in peace. So for example, I say something terrible about her, it will trigger you. Yes. Or somebody. Yes, exactly. So that's how anger works. There's a trigger in there. So everybody has a trigger. And you know, we've gone through life with different emotional baggages. And depending on where you found yourself, how you grew up, the environment you found yourself, your level of emotional intelligence and all those things, that's what will affect your ability to respond to anger. Again, to personality traits, temperaments will also determine how you respond to anger.
And the quantity that you have.
Absolutely.
Is it a spectrum?
Yes, for everybody, there's different spectrums. That makes us different.
So if I understand, you're born with it, but it is the spectrum that makes us different.
Absolutely. It is an inbuilt thing. It's something that God has given us, you know, to just indicate that, for example, without fear, if you be here and something happens and let's say you see a snake here, you just sit down and watch it. But because there's fear in you, you will react, either killing it or running away. The same thing with anger. For example, if there's no anger, your boundaries might not be drawn clearly. You might not know what is threat or what is not a threat. Somebody might say something to you, you just be there because you don't have anger in you. But it's a natural thing. Once we understand that, it makes it easier for us to understand how to manage it and how to work around it.
Before I go to Gordon, I want to find out that is it how we have seen anger? Because in my mind, anybody that's angry and starts to shout or react, I'm not the one to measure overreaction. Overreaction, who measures what overreaction is? Is it society, or is it yourself? Or is it the person that you have reacted onto, or the thing that you have reacted onto that you say that, oh, this is an overreaction? Is it when a person expresses something that we see as an overreaction that you say is anger? Or for people that will withdraw and not, you know, do anything about it, that you say that that person is also angry?
Okay, so we are allowed to express ourselves when we are angry. But the challenge is, does it affect you? Does it affect the people around you? Anger is like hot coal. The more you hold it, it starts affecting you. when you throw it around, it affects the people around you. So that's how we have to see anger. I worked in different organizations. There are some organizations where you're allowed to express your anger. There's a room where you can go and break things and, it's there. Other organizations, you need to remain calm and then express yourself in different ways. So it also depends on the environment. There are certain parts of Ghana, when you go there, you're allowed to express how you feel, either physically and, it's allowed. Other parts, no, you can't talk like this, you can't behave like this. So again, it depends on where you find yourself. But the general rule is that, does it affect you? Does it make you lose control? Does it become abusive to other people? So that's where the boundaries are.
Okay. Okay.
I have a very silly question.
Please ask.
Just like pain, love, disappointment, all these things, where does anger sit in a person? Is it in the mind or in the heart?
Well, technically, when you talk about the mind and the heart, they are connected, but I'll tell you, it's in the mind. A lot of things that happen to us are in our subconscious mind. Subconscious mind being that your mind has a way of storing things without your permission over a period of time. So most of those things are stored there. Sometimes the way we even react to things is because of the subconscious mind. For example, a lady or a man has been ghosted in a relationship for, let's say, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. It becomes consistent. The subconscious mind stores it. So when they get into another relationship, it starts playing back to them. This is what happened the other time. So it's not the heart, it's your mind. Deep down your mind, something is playing. So you notice that it becomes a pattern.
But I thought they say, learning now, anger is a feeling.
Yes, it's a feeling.
So now it moves, by the time you're feeling it, it may have moved from your subconscious to your heart now.
Yes.
Or it is your heart traveling to your subconscious. Or it's just your eyes confusing you. Or is your mind playing games on you? You're really not angry.
The mind is a very powerful tool, so it's really connected to our heart. What we see as the heart is what inferred is the mind.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Afro girls' favorite question to ask about anger is, how much is too much anger?
That's a very good question. How much is too much anger? Number one, when it affects you, when it makes you think irrationally, when it becomes abusive to other people.
Let's take it one after the other.
For example, when you become angry and you start breaking things, you become angry, you start saying things that you regret later. When you become angry and you punch somebody, you become angry, you say things that hurt people. When it becomes chronic, it becomes a pattern every day. The slightest thing you're angry, that is too much anger. But when, for example, you get angry and you're able to pause and feel that, okay, let me go through the emotions, nothing happens. It's normal. Or even you get angry, after that you find a way to resolve it. It is normal.
No matter what, are some people born so much that you take them through? We'll go to how to manage it anyway. But no matter how much you take them through, beneath, around anger management, they just would express it to no matter what. Are people like that?
Yes, it has to do with personality. But when we are born on a clean slate. So our environment shapes us. You understand? Our environment shapes us. So the things we pick up as children, for example, you're growing up as a child, you see your mother abusing your father, you see your father abusing your mother. It introduces you to what expressing yourself in a negative way is. The school you went to, where you grew up, things like that. Those things naturally grow with you. But for me, when you are born, you come with a clean slate. But there's a tendency that your personality type, there are certain personality types, they are prone to anger. The slightest thing, they want to react. It's just who they are.
Introvert or extrovert?
Mostly, the thing with introverts, there are introverts who are, laid back, quiet, but they get angry easily. The difference is that expression. So they express in other ways by not talking. They, extroverts can also get angry, but they also have their ways of expressing this. I know extroverts who do not really get angry. They're always happy. They are sanguine in temperament. Always happy, jolly good fellow. I know some of the serial killers are introverts. And the way they express their anger is through killing people. They become sadists. When they become sadists, that's what brings them happiness. So, but for me, I believe that no matter what, everybody can go through a process where you can work on your anger.
Okay.
That is life. You determine what happens to you.
Okay.
Is anger hereditary? Is it possible that someone can inherit anger from, let's say, the father or the mother without necessarily seeing it manifest physically? I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Yes, there are traits we can we get from our parents. Yes, yes. But at the end of the day, depending on your environment and what you go through in life, it shapes you. You know, people grow up with different personality traits they get from their parents. Okay. That is the wonder of the world. That is why we are connected to our parents. But we always have the decision to take a left or right and to work on it.
Again, is it possible not to be angry at all? Is there a possibility that there are people who don't get angry at all?
There's a possibility if the person has worked on it over a period of time. I've met people who have worked on themselves, have worked on emotional intelligence, have worked on empathy. When you meet, apologies for using this example, a typical Buddhist, they train them. Once you are born, they take you through the process, how to handle your emotions. Even in the Japanese, you are taught how to handle your emotions. So you notice that even in Chinese movies, the best of them are able to handle. You can throw a fist and all that, and they still handle the emotions very well. They are calm. So, in order to, for me, once you learn the process, go through the process, you become better at it. But as to whether somebody will not be angry at all, it's a problem. I mean, it's a challenge. Because you think you can handle a lot of things till you are triggered. The word trigger, anybody can be triggered. You never know what will trigger you. And the truth of the matter is, as humans, we are not perfect.
You as a person, you would not know what to trigger you, or the things and the person triggering you would not know that this will trigger you.
You as a person, you might not know what to trigger you. Again, you can know what will trigger you based on experience.
Okay.
Even, for example, you're working with somebody, you know, after getting to know the person over a period of time, you know what to say to the person to trigger the person. So normally, with the first instant, the person will think that, oh, I don't get angry, but you might say something or do something that will trigger the person. So there's a first time and continuous triggering.
How is it possible, Delasi, that something that could be a trigger from one person may not be a trigger from another person? The same thing. So you have two instances, you and Akosia. You say something, and I get you say something, and I get so pissed. She says the same thing, and it doesn't trigger me. What's the difference? Okay. Why am I not getting? Where is anger?
Yes, that's another good question. So again, I go back to the environment we grew up in, or the environment we found ourselves in. For example, in a family where there's a lot of humor, there's a lot of joke, you know, we understand who we are. Such a person, it's difficult for the person to get angry easily because they understand some of these things. You grow up in another environment where the slightest thing, based on your mindset, based on your perception, the slightest thing will make you angry. Again, to past traumas, there are times when it's not your fault. You've gone through certain things in life that will make you sensitive. It's not your fault. You grew up, let's say, in an abusive home. It's going to make you angry, normally, as compared to somebody who grew up in a home where it's all fun. You know, it's not perfect, but it's all fun.
Okay, I guess
sometimes to emotional baggages. Emotional baggages are experiences we carry in our lives that we have not resolved. You know, for example, you go to high school and you are bullied. Certain things are said to you, and you keep it. Later on in life, it's still in your subconscious mind. So if that thing is used against you, it goes deep. It hurts you, and you might retaliate. For example, I have a friend when we were in high school. We call him Timbonka. Timbonka is big head. He accepted Timbonka as his big head. Based on where he came, his home, it's fine for you to be able to be called Timbonka. Now he tells me that he's no more Timbonka, he's fine. Somebody else will take you personal and will always look in the mirror. And whenever you talk about a big-headed person or somebody who has big head, will feel angry. So those are the parameters where people...
Hopefully I'm not getting ahead of the conversation. I think what I'm asking is, why is it that you can say to me, you can call me Tibonka, yeah? And I'll get angry, I'll be triggered by it, but MFL will call me Tibonka and I'll not be triggered by it.
It's all based on your experience, it can be relationship as well.
Okay.
For example, you're in the office, 2 people, you and MFA. You say something to MFA, it's fine.
It's okay for her.
But somebody else, it's not fine.
Okay.
Because of the relationship.
So relationship.
They have and perceptions. You know,
Yeah,
there are times when in your mind, you've created a picture in your mind about something or somebody. So what the person says about you angers you, will make you angry. When you feel loved by somebody and they say certain things to you, you will not get angry.
So
but somebody else, yes.
Okay.
Exactly. If I criticize you, depends on who the connection we have. You might take it well or you might not take it well. That could activate anger.
I see.
In recent times, I mean, I've said this before, you'd hear people say that you cannot say something to hurt me or you cannot say something to trigger me. You cannot do something to trigger me to get angry and not expect me not to be angry. Basically, a person who has a certain level of anger is advocating that you take them like that. You accept them like that. Or me, if you touch me, I'll get angry and this is what I will do. And there's nothing you can do about it. Then society says that, well, if you cause somebody to be angry, you don't expect them to react the way you want them. Leave them to react the way you want. Is this real or is all a myth?
I think it's a myth because we need to allow people to express themselves the way they need to express themselves when they are angry. But the underlying point is that the way you express yourself, is it abusive? That becomes a different conversation. Does it hurt the person in a different physical way, in an emotional way, in a verbal way? Does it hurt you yourself?
Stay there. This hurt is defined by who? The person or society. This is because a person says that, oh, no, no, would you gross now you know, the perception of society. I was just talking to Gordon and he's so angry. I don't know what I did. Then maybe people around will say, but Gordon, she was just playing with you and all. Like, so who would now define what abuse is? Is it the person? Or, do you understand my question?
I understand.
Yeah. Who then would, who are we giving the credit to? Who are we accusing?
So normally in wherever we find ourselves, the system, yes, the system determines what level of abuse is okay.
Beautiful.
But when you go deeper in the conversation, what level of abuse depends on the individual. There are times when, for example, I travel to a country and then I hear you cannot look at the way more than 30 seconds. It becomes abuse. In other countries, you can. You know, so that system has determined what abuse is.
Right.
So if you're in an environment where we've not defined clearly what abuse is, what the boundaries are, people have different ways of expressing themselves.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
When you go to offices, it's stated clearly that you can't do this, you can't hit somebody, you can't say this about that. So it's declared, and you know.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's chaos where environments don't, you know.
What about the person that says that that's how I am? Please accept me. Don't try to change me.
But that's how you are. Wonderful. But does it affect other people?
Wonderful.
Yes. Does it affect? The problem is,
Does it affect?
does it affect other
Does it
people?
affect
For example, we are driving defensive. You're always told to drive defensively. You know, watch out for the other driver.
You say that's how I drive.
This is how I drive.
Maybe
No, that's you like no. The system says that no. You need to go within the speed limit. You need to conform to this and that. You know.
Can anger grow to become a disorder?
Absolutely. What happens is that it's like you putting something in a bottle. There's no outlet. It gets to the point where it might explode.
Okay.
It gets to the point where it becomes chronic. I'm sure we've been around people who are always angry. It's because it has been practiced over a period of time and nothing has been done about it. One of the things about the universe is that it loves you to be in your comfort zone. So if you are typically always angry, it will always make sure you react to things easily. Your mind picks it up, your subconscious mind picks up, and then always plays some, Charlie, you have to get angry. What this person is saying, but meanwhile, what the person says is not really supposed to make you angry.
Yeah.
And again, we need to practice a lot of empathy. Not sympathy, empathy.
Who? The person receiving the anger reaction or the person giving the anger?
On both ways. or both ways. Yes. And sometimes, again, we need to move to the level of self-awareness. I'm a coach and I have interaction with people every time, and I notice that people don't know who they are. God, you are very handsome. So imagine you are driving, someone says, look, your name. And you know you're handsome. Why should it bother you?
But people still elect themselves to be bothered.
Yes, because you don't know who you are. Because you've bottled up things.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think we're in a society where we're not expressive. We're afraid. Yes, we are afraid. We are afraid to express ourselves and to be used against us. So this conversation, when I was coming, anger. I said, these are small things we don't talk about. But when you go deep into it, people realize that, oh, wow, it is very important that I know about this. So it's a good conversation we are having.
Dala, is it possible that is it the case that because we know that we have anger and we can manage it, it is expected that in all situations, like in if you live on this earth 1 million years, in all of your 1 million years, if you ever feel a trigger, you shouldn't react or what? Like, is it possible? Because some people cannot stand, say, disrespect, abuse, as you have said, and all of that. And because anger can cause a certain level of havoc, or, you know, is it that in this one case, there's no day you can react at all? Like, there's no day you can just, like, start to remove and want to go for a fight? Like,
no, most often there are times when we all get to that point where we want to punch.
And it's
we
okay,
want to
right?
push. Yes, but make sure that your punch doesn't cause trouble for you.
But I'm angry.
Yes.
I'm not myself. I'm exhibiting the feeling that my subconscious is telling me. And so I feel disrespected, and it is the same call that I want to give back to you.
Give back to the person.
I cannot disrespect, but I want to slap you in the face. Like, I want to push you, you know. Is it okay once a while? Like, once, if you live...
Oh, once a while, no. Because our sister I remember a story of a very popular musician who was at his prime and had an issue with a taxi driver.
Yeah.
And then anger. He is normally a good person. He's normally controlled. He's normally somebody who doesn't like trouble. But that one time destroyed everything. And when you ask him, what would you have done at that point if you could see the future? He said you pause, breathe in, out, and let it go.
But how is it even possible? Can you see the future when you're that angry?
No, so it was just said that way for him to just reflect. So sometimes we need to start talking to ourselves, understanding that, you know, the truth of the matter is that your reaction what will be the benefit of the reaction? We need to ask ourselves.
Draw the line?
You know, draw the line, but when you slap the person, what is next? He will retaliate or she will retaliate.
Or the person will know that you're stronger than them, so they won't deal with you on that level anymore.
Possibly, or you go to, you'll be held for assault, you know. So there's a chain of events. It's always an if, but that...
I'll plead provocation.
Yes.
Yeah, well, these are reality checks where
Absolutely.
people feel that, okay, oh God, if not for something, I would have.
Absolutely. So it just reminds me of speed limits. You're driving on the highway and then speed limit, it starts beeping, beep, 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 beep. So at that point, would you reduce the speed or would you continue?
Yeah, I'll
Reduction of speed.
Exactly. So that's how.
So you
that's
must
how to see
know.
some of these things. Sometimes.
Do you learn better after you've faced a situation in anger, or you learn so that by the time you see it, you know how to deal with it? Which two of these people are able to manage anger very well? The person that experiences and saw the consequences, or the person that has mastered the time so they can see, so they don't even allow it? Who manages it better?
Very good question. I always say experience is the best teacher.
Indeed. Indeed.
If you've gone through something before, you see it differently.
Yeah.
I remember when my father passed away, I had my cousins around me. They were supporting and everything. Some few months after, they lost their mother. They said, Aish, this is not easy. They can empathize, they can sympathize, but not empathize. But when you have experienced it, it helps you know who you are. One thing I love about reality shows is that they do things to push you to the edge.
Yeah.
Without going to the edge, you never know who you are. There are times when, because of the environment you find yourself, nobody makes you angry, you're able to handle yourself. But you get to another environment where you are pushed. That is when you learn that's when you discover who you truly are.
Okay.
That's why even in the military, they push you to the limit. So that in the time when you are faced with that, you know that, oh, this is how I'm going to react. Or this is my capability.
Yeah.
In the management, even before, I may have heard that, oh, if you're angry, just pause, think about it, withdraw, just leave the scene. Or either close your eyes, or either don't mind them. You hear all of that. If you have a very soft-hearted mother, she says, oh, don't mind them, it's okay, just leave there and all of that. Is it the case that you must always withdraw? Because of the analogy you gave of how the emotions can be bottling up.
Yeah, sure.
It can be bottling up.
Sure.
Each time you withdraw, where does the anger go to? Isn't it in that bottle?
It's still in that bottle. So the outlet is to be able to talk to somebody who understands you. So for example, when I'm getting angry, I know 2 people I can call to talk to. One will make me laugh. One will also give me a very good opinion, a real opinion, no, ifs and buts, And again, you need a lot of emotional intelligence. It's something you have to learn. So you need those outlets. Sometimes when you withdraw, you need to talk to somebody who you know will listen to you, who has your back. So at least one, force, so or the person not force, but let's see how we can solve it. That 2 minutes of interaction can help us.
It's good, Dela, because what you have just said now, it takes my mind back to somebody would have a confrontation. One person withdraws, or they will come and patter them, and it's like everything is okay. They will all go home, and one person will go later to the other person's house to go and still and continue the fight.
The energy is still
the energy is still there, so it's not enough to just withdraw.
No, it's not enough. After withdrawing, listening to other people who matter to you. Sometimes you need to get a mediator, somebody who has the respect of both of you, to talk about it. It's important that people will have conversations, because once you don't solve it, the person becomes an enemy. And then an opportunity will come again to retaliate. And you need to work on it.
Godwin, ask questions.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
Except I struggle to understand why a person would not know that they have anger issues.
Again, anger is inborn. It becomes an issue when it affects you on a daily basis. But as a coach, I've spoken to a lot of people, and then they never realize that this is the pattern that is affecting your life. So you paint the picture to them. So you have that interaction with them. Okay, for example, somebody mentioned to me that, these men, when they come, they don't stay. So then we have an interaction, start finding out what do you do. It's not your fault, but let's find out what you do. Let's see from the other angle what happens. And then once we put it together, say, oh, okay. That okay is what a lot of people lack. And we don't communicate enough. So what I do is I post a lot of things on my status, things to trigger people to talk. For example, I can just post, when was the last time you kissed? And you get a lot of married folks come, hey, Charlie, I chill. Then we start having that conversation. A lot of people have ideas about what they are going through, but they are not sure because they don't talk to people who understand, them.
Now I see. Oh, you have some messages?
Yeah, let's open the phone lines first of all.
Okay.
You have the number?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Phone lines are officially open. 02047 38481, 02047 055 050331511. You have any questions on anger, please let us know. We'll ask Delasi for you. Delasi. And then my question disappears. Oh, goodness. This is my mind.
But
please, it's important.
Techniques. Yes. Mastering emotions and mastering anger. Let's talk about techniques. Like MFA said, my dad always told me as a kid that whenever you get angry, walk away. Walk away. I don't know if that has benefited me over the years. In a way it has, because then it prevents me from saying certain things and it prevents me from doing certain things, but then it doesn't solve the situation. Sure. It's still there, Let's talk about techniques. When you're angry, something is happening to you at the moment. Conscience leaves you, right? Conscience leaves,
yes,
like...
most of it, yes. It's thrown out of the window, yes.
Okay, we'll come back to the question. Rich Love.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Where are you calling us from?
Kasua.
Kasua. Please go ahead with your question.
Okay. I don't have a question, but my problem is I have anger issues. I don't really know how to manage my anger. And at times, too, if I'm angry, I just feel like destroying things.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Thank you. Delasi will help us with that. How to manage your anger.
The destroying of the thing, what does it give? It gives the reverse psychology of satisfaction.
Yes, it means that you push the energy instead of destroying a human being. You push your energy into destroying that thing, and then it gets better. You feel better about it.
Okay.
You know, when it's like fire, it's like this strong energy to react to something, a threat. So sometimes when you don't react, it's bottled there. It becomes a negative energy there. So for some people, that's why I said some organizations, they give you a room where you can just go break things. Plastic, you just break it. When you come out, you're fine.
So for
something to allow you to shout. So for her, I'm excited because the first bit is that you know that you have anger issues. Once you've recognized that you know you have anger issues, the next question you ask yourself is, what are the triggers? You know, what makes you angry? I'm sure it's not always the case that she's angry, but certain things make her angry. Then we need to find out, is this something from your past that is causing her to be angry? Is this something somebody is saying that's causing her to be angry? And then we start dealing with her as a person. You know, okay, it's time to be able to put things into perspective. This makes me angry. Can I talk about it more? Can I reach out to the people? Can I work on myself as a person? The beautiful thing about working on yourself is that it gives you that freedom to operate within yourself. Sometimes the mindset.
And I'd like to know, before we talk to Zachariah, how do you know you have anger issues? Is it because every time you react? Is it the reaction that makes you know that you have issues? Zachariah, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Where are you calling us from, please?
Yes, I'm calling from Tamale.
Tamale. Okay.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Please, I joined the program late. Please, I said I joined the program late.
Yes, please.
Please, I'm a married man, so I'm living with my wife. Anytime I tell her to do this, sometimes she will do. Sometimes she will do like she forgets. And sometimes it makes me angry because always I tell her, don't do this, don't do that. But she keeps on repeating it. How do I control myself on that?
Thank you. I like your question.
Would you like to ask like a follow-up question? When he's angry, does he do something?
I wanted to find out if
maybe like
does he abuse?
Do you abuse her? Do you do something?
What do you do? What exactly?
You don't eat her food,
things like that.
Yeah.
So is it the reactions that make you know that you have issues?
There's a certain level of
If you don't react at all,
do you have another caller?
Have another caller? Hi, good morning. Hello? Okay.
Oh, wait, sorry.
In most cases, it is the reaction that determines your anger issues. But again, to know yourself will help you know that, okay, this is what triggers me, and I'm angry. There are some people who get angry, they don't show any emotions. They keep it. And they react in different ways. Maybe they bottle it up, and let's say after a year they react, or after a month they react, or after 6 months they react. So for people, it's difficult to know if it's an issue
or not. Yeah.
But when it becomes a pattern, 6 months you've reacted. You go for meetings and then this quiet guy, he doesn't talk. One day he just,
means he's
fires.
been angry since.
He's been angry since. But that's a one-off. But again, another time he does it again. Then you notice that no, this is an issue. So most often is the reaction.
Hi, good morning.
The reaction.
Good morning.
Mercy?
Mercy.
Yes, yes.
Where are you calling from?
Konongo.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Please, I'm also having issues with anger. And I'm a married woman with 2 kids, and my husband too is having problem with anger, and it's costing my marriage. For 3 years now, we've been dealing with these anger issues, and right now we are at the steps of divorcing. I always try to manage the more I try to manage, he triggers it and it comes back. So right now, I don't even know what to do with him.
Mercy, how do you try to manage it? How do you try to manage it? When you say you try to manage it?
sometimes I try to ignore some things from him. I try not to respond to him whenever he's angry and he reacts. But the more you try to avoid it, the more he wants you to involve yourself in his anger. So I always want to respond, then it triggers sometimes, it turns to violence, then it ends. Some other times I have to go ahead and all those things. Recently, I filed for divorce. As you know, family issues, it's just going to settle issues. So I have to wait for some time.
This is multifaceted.
Yes,
yeah.
my dear, it's a lot.
The matter has graduated.
It has graduated. And when it gets to this point, I normally ask for.
Then let's give us a minute.
Okay,
I think
sure.
there's another caller, so we can,
Hi, caller. Good. Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay, wait, sorry.
So when it gets to this level, sometimes I always say there's something beneath, something that they both might have ignored. You know, marriage can be a bit difficult at some point. Like, I mean, a lot of things, and then something triggers something, is bottled up, and then it becomes an issue. So when it gets to this point, I always advise for therapy, couple therapy, because at this point it's difficult to work on this issue on your own without the next person's approval. In terms of, you can work on yourself, the person will still trigger you.
Yeah.
So the two of you need to sit and have a discussion.
I have a follow-up question
with
this.
a therapist.
Me
there.
too. And doesn't ignoring the person make you more angry?
Oh, yes.
You say you're managing it, but you're ignoring the person. You're making the person more angry.
That's what happens when somebody one day wakes up and then stabs the other person.
Because you're ignoring me.
Absolutely.
Hello, good morning. Hi, good morning. Yes, your name and where you're calling from, please.
I'm Musa.
Musa, okay. Please, go ahead.
I'm married man with a kid.
You're married. Oh.
And I feel like anytime I'm talking to my wife, like my wife is someone who easily becomes angry and makes mistakes. So even when it comes to, let's say, a man and a man from one grocery, you may try to have an affair with her and she says no. And when that happens, you don't always know how to control my anger. So
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at this.
Can elaborate that on me or how I should do about it. Thank you very much.
Apologies, we are not laughing at this. It's just a funny situation.
Again, with this case, you want to find out when did this start? Because normally when you start a relationship, it's all nice. You navigate the different stages. And the question you want to ask as a coach, when did you notice this?
Before you
interaction?
This one, what's really the difference between irritation? You're irritated and you're angry.
Or
irritation is trotting to get
exactly.
angry.
Something is mostly the minute things that get on your nerves. But anger is more or less the full flesh.
So if you're a candidate that is, if you're a person that is easily irritated, are you a rehearsal of anger? Like are you rehearsing?
Oh, you're getting there, but the thing with irritation is that it's minute things that are causing it. For example, sometimes when you are broke, you can be easily irritated. If somebody understands situations will affect you in that regard.
In managing this anger thing, like the woman said, when she's trying to manage it, she ignores the other person.
Sure.
Does ignoring help? Because yes, you're also trying to avoid confrontation, but does it help manage the anger? It's better you address it, isn't it?
Yes. So we go back to what you said about walking away. Sometimes, after walking away, you need to come back to solve it. You can't keep running.
But the person will not let you go. They are angry. Like, deal with me now.
Exactly.
Anyways.
But sometimes dealing with the person at that point...
But you're angry, how will I deal with you?
could
you want
cause
us to
trouble.
punch you in the face so
know.
you come back to your senses. We have Job or Joe. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. Is it Job?
Yes.
Okay, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Haverford region.
Okay, please go on.
So it's like I always have issues with my dad. And then I'm so much like him and he's quick-tempered and I'm also quick-tempered. So anytime we are around, there is always issues. We are both getting angry at the slightest thing that happens. But then when he tends to react, I just keep it in. But it's hurting me all right, but there's no way I can react because he's my dad.
Yeah.
and then later maybe he can ask me to do something, and then I will, because of what happened earlier, I will just refuse to do it, to get back at him or something. And then it's really causing the relationship between I and him, and then I don't know what to do.
Thank
Nice.
you. Thank you. I like that.
Which brings us to the
Children,
conversation of retaliation. Retaliation, when a person is angry and whatever the act that they did onto somebody wants to retaliate. They may not retaliate in anger, but they may look for, like what he said, when he says he should do something, you won't do. For some of us, we withdraw. A lot of the time, you withdraw from the person. At most, you tell the person, please stay away from me.
Yeah, sure.
So that way, it makes you lose touch with people. Because it's only human beings and people that will get you angry. So if everybody that gets you angry, you tell them, you withdraw. Because there's a withdrawal thing you guys were talking about. Withdrawing all the time, you must come back to what? Solve the problem. What if the person is toxic? And
Yes,
I'm told that if a person hits you, possibility that they'll hit you again is high.
Is high. So what happens is that this question is very important because it's something that we face in our society when it comes to parent-children relationship, when it comes to teacher-pupil relationship, when it comes to boss-subordinate relationship, because it happens in most cases where the person in power thinks they can do anything to the person who has, the less power. So in this situation, yes, he can withdraw and all that, but I always feel that we should be able to talk to somebody who can have an interaction with the person. You understand? So, for example, my children, sometimes I can get angry, and my children will use my wife. So, daddy didn't do, or daddy got angry. And possibilities that I might listen. If I'm not a psycho, I will listen to mom. So, sometimes we need to use that kind of strategy.
The things that are their soft spots.
Absolutely. I organized a program for young boys, and I discovered that we're not, when it comes to that relationship with our fathers, we don't really have it. So I asked that it was on a Zoom call. I said, everybody go and hug your father. And the feedback that came out of it was amazing. They didn't know, some of them didn't know they could hug their fathers. Their fathers were saying, no, but at the end of the day, they were able to hug their father. And there was this transfer of positive energy. And I also realized at that time that it's been a while I hugged my father. But he was always doing macho mama. I went to hug him. And fast forward, that hug really brought a good vibe. And I think it's something we need to encourage in our society. Being able to talk about, allowing people of less power to talk about our feelings. So we also have to create avenues where people can channel. It's not everybody who can come to you and say, you've done this to me. But we have to create avenues where we can channel to somebody who can, connect with people like that. So, for example, you need to talk to somebody who can talk to the father, in a very nice way. That when you do this, it hurts me. And if he's not a psycho, he should be able to listen. Yeah.
I guess you have to go and find Della so that you can continue the conversation one-on-one if you have anger issues. But there's hope so that you're not destroying yourself. But quickly, we're wrapping the conversation. Great discussion there on anger management. It's rare on our airwaves now. And we all need this, especially with how our economy has become. I know Delasi from FGBMF.
That's Full Gospel.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
Full Gospel Business.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes.
This is Dalequist.
Okay.
Oh, Dale.
Oh, that's Dale.
Yes.
Dale. Okay. I was wondering
Dale,
what
good
the
morning.
Yeah, good morning.
I was wondering what the
Morning to
name
you,
was.
the mind surgeon.
Yeah, the mind surgeon. Yeah.
Philosophy about the value of anger states that anger is different from strength. Anger is a different form of strength. Depending on how you see it, it makes it good or bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can someone be angry and add the gentle justice is asking?
Sometimes when you get angry, go to the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. The channel of energy. Yes, you channel your energy to something different. I know somebody, when they get angry, they are working. They are more productive.
Let it out.
But I really think this is a very important topic. We need to continue in
having
our
that
homes.
conversation.
And we need to change our mindset about things. We need to be more. I keep talking about emotional intelligence. It helps us to understand who we are, who other people are, and how to be empathetic. In a society where we are empathetic, it helps, reduce a lot of anger. And it's true, anger in this part of town has become something serious.
Yeah.
When you are driving on the road, everybody's angry. And sometimes when you talk to the people, it's not because they want to be angry, but it's because of what they are going through.
Yeah.
People are going through a lot.
Yeah.
So we should also open up the channel where people can get therapy easily.
Right.
Yes. So I'm excited when people call me or random. We need that random business. The last I want to talk about this. Okay, let's talk about it. No judgment, and then we'll be fine.
Thank you. When is the book coming up?
Hopefully in December.
Okay.
Hopefully in December.
Okay,
But for now, we are
time.
doing ghostwriting. So if you need someone to write your story, I'm available.
Okay. At
Yes.
where? Share socials.
Yeah. You can just call me on 026 200 6190. Write that beautiful story.
Okay. Say the number again.
026 200 6190.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Always a pleasure to be here. You guys are a vibe.
Thank you.
Totally
Thank
love
you.
you.
All right, guys. Yes, so Fashion Wednesday, we had a conversation with Elikem Kumoji and his new film, Pilulu. Here's what he had to say.